Hi, everyone. Thanks again for making it. My name is Rafi Chakmakcha. I'm the CEO of Lift Session. We're here to present to you a very hot topic around fitness and the right things to do and not to do. We're here because of our partnership with LifeWorks by Morneau Shepell, which basically is an amazing platform that you have access to. And we're basically going to go through this presentation. I'll hand it over to Lily now. She's going to do a quick intro to the whole the whole webinar, and Dave as well. And then at the end, we'll basically be talking about a special offer for you that's going to be available through your network, through the Perks platform. That said, during the presentation, if you have any questions whatsoever, please go ahead and write them in the Q&A panel that you see on your screen. And then I'll be moderating the session. So if there's any questions that basically we feel like we'll interrupt Dave and jump into it, we'll go ahead and do that. And then there'll be a Q&A at the end as well that we could go through. So that said, Lily, I'm gonna pass it over to you, and I'm gonna mute myself and go basically dark here until there's more questions and stuff to come in as I moderate.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Rafi. Welcome, everyone. My name is Lily Choppa, and I'm the manager of wellness for the group benefits here at RBC Insurance. As you know, we launched our wellness program last year in partnership with LifeWorks. We launched the program because we're committed to providing you with information and resources you need to achieve your best health. So this session today is an example of the resources that can help you kickstart adding regular activity to your daily life, which, as we all know, is an important contributor to good health. But I also want to point out, beyond this session today, I want to encourage you to take some time to explore your digital wellness program, find out about all of the wealth of resources that are available to you through that program. And just in case you need some direction, you can find the program through your My Benefits app or on the online plan member portal. So please do that and have a look at what's available to you and use what interests you. Now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our special guest today, David Schiaccia. And a little bit about David. So he is the Chief Operating Officer at Lift Session, and he's had the opportunity to work with hundreds of world-class fitness specialists in a variety of specializations and develop best-in-class training protocols for all levels. With his broad understanding of training best practices, training psychology, and workout efficiency, David creates addictive training experiences that allow users to achieve their fitness goals more easily. David is a certified American Council on Exercise personal trainer, a certified CrossFit Level 2 coach, as well as a certified strongman and mobility coach. David, you're making me feel very inefficient right now. David has played both baseball and hockey at the varsity level as well. So I think we're all in very good hands. And with that, I'll turn it over to David.
Lillian, thanks so much for that handoff. Greatly appreciated. And thanks so much for having me, guys. I'm really excited to have you guys here and talk about something that I'm really passionate about. I know how challenging it can be and how exciting and exhilarating it can be to hit your fitness goals and set quality fitness goals. And it's something that I have a personal investment in, because there's nothing I like more than seeing people actually accomplish what they set out to achieve. So I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about this. As a general rule, I love getting questions. So the more questions that you guys can jump in and drop in the chat, the more specific I can get with this webinar. It is going to be pretty specific, and I'm going to get into some pretty fun details. But if there's any specific questions that you have, don't hesitate to use the chat. Rafi's going to be here to monitor the session and moderate it, so he'll be able to hit me with the specific questions that you guys are asking. Without any further ado, we're going to get into how to hit your fitness goals. I like to start this conversation with one of the key things, and in establishing and learning how to get on the right path, and that is how to set and achieve your fitness goals. So it's a broader level conversation about the concept of setting goals, and some of the hurdles that a lot of people face when setting their goals, and what ends up resulting in them either achieving versus not achieving their goals. the most important way to start this is by starting a discussion around why people often fail to achieve their fitness goals. Without getting a good understanding of why people trip up or stumble, it becomes very difficult to establish a process to make sure that you actually are on the right path to hitting your fitness goals. So I'm going to start with a couple key reasons why people fail to hit their fitness goals, and then I'm going to give you guys solutions on how to work around it. So the first and most important reason why people often stumble in setting and hitting their fitness goals is they don't actually understand the process. So the process is the steps in order to actually achieve that long-term goal. A lot of the times when we start to strive towards a fitness goal or a fitness activity, or if there's something specific that we're looking to accomplish, we lack a clear understanding of how to get there. And that's what I mean by the process. Not everybody wants to go out and get, a deep and detailed education on fitness, and as a result of that, we come up with this hypothetical way of how we're going to actually achieve our goals without knowing the true underlying steps required to get there. This breakdown and understanding of the process results in this faulty sort of mental state that you get into with regards to where you should be, where you are, and whether you're on track. It's kind of like going on a road trip, getting an idea of where the final destination is, but not having your GPS or your map to guide you along the way. So it's important to get a clear understanding of the process. And as a result of that, it's often beneficial to work with somebody who's very knowledgeable on the subject, whether that be a coach, a group fitness instructor, a nutritionist, a sleep professional, whatever it is that you're looking at with regards to improving your overall wellness. A lot of the time, getting clear understanding of what the process is and what you should be looking for is going to help you. And this is something that people often fail to do, and that's the first thing that gets in the way. The second thing is you cannot manage what you don't measure. A lot of people approach fitness and approach wellness as a whole with this broad level goal that they're looking to achieve, but they never keep track of what they're doing to achieve it. If you're not tracking your progress, it becomes very difficult to analyze and assess whether or not you've put in the effort required to get you to where you're going. Which brings us to the third point, is if we're not tracking our progress, what we do, and I'm not saying anybody specific, I'm saying in general, we have a tendency to lie to ourselves. We believe that we have done or tried to do a lot more than we have often actually tried to do. And this is a problem because if you believe that you're putting in all of the required efforts to achieve your fitness goals and you're actually not making progress towards them, whether that be losing weight or getting lean or getting stronger, then you're telling yourself, I'm doing everything that's required to actually accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish, but in fact, you're not, right? And you don't have a track record or a database or a logbook or something to prove to yourself that you are or you're not. So tracking your progress is important to make sure that you are actually on the right track and applying the right process, but also that you're not lying to yourself and then getting confused as to whether it's a lack of effort, which is resulting in the lack of results, or whether or not it's actually the work that you're putting in. Another key thing that people tend to do is, and I'll talk about this more in detail, but people fail to follow the basics when it comes to achieving their fitness goals. Fitness doesn't have to be overly complex. We tend to want to make it overly complex because that's a way to trick people. The fitness industry has historically used this as a way to trick people into believing that there is this very, very detailed and complex and convoluted methodology that needs to be applied. And that's simply not true. There are basic movements, basic training protocols, basic strategies that will help you achieve your fitness goals. And it doesn't have to be complex, but people tend to revert back to these really complicated and convoluted methodologies. And I'm telling you right now, it's absolutely not necessary. We'll get into details about that later. This is one of my favorite ones. People often approach fitness with a lack of intensity. And that doesn't inherently mean that you need to be doing high intensity workouts. I personally have a propensity towards high intensity workouts for most fitness objectives, whether that be losing weight, getting strong, developing lean mass. And I'll get into details on why that's important, the high intensity training protocol. But when I'm talking about intensity in this concept, it's you are doing it just to get it done. And often that results in lower intensity in terms of physical intensity, but it also results in lower intensity applied with regards to mentally checking into your workout, which is super important. You need to be mentally present in order to benefit the most from your workout. And when you don't check in mentally, you often don't check in physically, you're often not paying attention to your movement patterns, your human biomechanics. And as a result of that, that lack of intensity or that being present in the moment results in slower, if not non-existent results. And that creates a sense of frustration because you have spent time at the gym, or you have spent time out running, or you have spent time using a fitness app to do the workouts, but you haven't been seeing the results. And the reason why you haven't been seeing it is because you haven't been checked into it. The last one, and this is probably the most important one, people often take actions that are not aligned with their fitness objectives. That does not mean that the actions that they are taking are not good. But the number of times that I've heard people that are talking to me about losing weight and getting more lean muscle, with a focus on losing body fat, that go into the gym, spend an hour and a half there, or an hour to an hour and a half there lifting weights without paying any attention to their nutrition, without any attention being paid to their sleep. They're missing the point. It's like you need to follow a protocol that aligns what you are doing with what your long-term goals are in order to get there. Again, going back to my roadmap, if you are trying to drive down to New York, but you're headed towards Toronto, it's not, you're going somewhere, just not the right direction. So the idea is we want to make sure that actions are aligned with objectives. These are the key reasons why people stumble and delay their progress towards their fitness goals. And there's easy ways to work around it, which is what I'm going to discuss next. The key to this, and the key to making sure that you don't hit those stumbling blocks, is by figuring out and establishing goals that are important to you, and also goal setting the right way. Now, this is going to be something that you guys have all probably heard of. It's goal setting. Goal setting doesn't change. Doesn't change whether you're setting it for personal objectives or career objectives or fitness objectives. There's a common theme to goal setting. The single most important one is you need to figure out why this is important to you. If you've come up with a fitness goal, if you've come up with an objective, if you are looking to lose weight, if you are looking to gain muscle, if you are looking to develop aptitudes for a sport that you play, whatever your goal is, there needs to be an underlying reason why, right? There needs to be an underlying reason why in order for you to be, again, mentally checked in and motivated. Because like anything else in life, if something's worth achieving, it is going to require a certain level of commitment. And there are going to be days that are going to be easier than others when going to the gym or going out for a run or whatever it is that you need to do in order to achieve your long-term goal. There are going to be the days where it's a bit of a struggle. There are going to be the days where you don't necessarily inherently and intrinsically feel like doing what needs to be done in order to hit your long-term goal. If you don't have a why or reason why it's important to you personally, then it's easy to fall off the wagon. And that's what we don't want. One of the most important things when it comes to fitness is consistency. Consistency is key to establishing a routine, to starting to see the benefits, and to be invested and committed to your results. So finding that personal why is the single most important thing that will help you achieve your goals. Second thing is, people often set goals that are very, very generic. Losing weight is a generic goal. It's a good goal, but it's a little bit too generic. Building strength is also a good goal, also a little bit too generic. I'm sure you guys have heard of the theme SMART goals or the term SMART goals. Now, what we're talking about here is your goals, in order for them to be important to you and in order for them to be relevant to you, they need to be specific, measurable, and timely. Now, what I mean by that is you can talk about getting stronger. All right, I'm going to use getting stronger as an example. Getting stronger is a great goal, but getting stronger is very vague. Right? Specificity in this case is super important. Let's say for you, your squat is important, right? Squatting is important, and you want to get stronger with your squat. Let's say right now you're capable of squatting 95 pounds, and you say that you want to get stronger. Well, stronger might represent being able to squat 125 pounds. That's something that is a lot more specific than just get stronger, right? The other element is that it is measurable. You know what you can squat now. You know what your goal is. So now you can squat 95 pounds. Your goal is to squat 125. There are progress checkpoints in between those two numbers. It's measurable. You can track it. You can see your progress through time. Now, the third point in setting SMART goals is timely. You want to set that goal where you're saying, today, I can squat 95 pounds. By July 30th or July 31st, I want to be able to squat 125 pounds. Perfect. I can squat 95 for 10 reps today. I want to be able to squat 125 for 10 reps on July 31st. That gives me a timeline and specific micro checkpoints that I can look into to see if I'm on pace or on target. The importance of SMART goals is summed up like that. It gives you a measurement key. You need it to be specific, you need it to be measurable, and you need it to be timely. And if you can do that with a specific goal, then you can apply it to any goal that you have with regards to fitness or non-fitness goals. Another key element is people often have a number of goals that they are looking to achieve at any given time. Oh, guys, it looks like we've got a question.
Yeah, Dave. So I think one element and basically important to, I think, address, and question we get a lot and just have here is, which is, how do you go from sort of setting that large goal to all of a sudden the specifics around like squatting or which exercise to do? Like, what is the best methodology for people who are not fitness professionals to get to that sort of process and figure out what are the things to do to be able to hit that macro goal that you're describing?
Yeah, thanks for the question. The thing is, when you come to the table with a very high level macro goal, you may not know the specific process in order to build towards achieving your goal, and that's totally fine. The single most important thing to do is to work with somebody and to evaluate what the goal is and what the micro goals and the checkpoints along the way are. It's super important to be working, in this case, if you've got a goal that you're looking to achieve, it's important to work with a professional who can give you those checkpoints, those micro goals, the where you should be as progress checkpoints to achieve that broader macro goal. And if you don't know what those specific smaller checkpoints are, then the professional can help you set that up, whether that be a fitness professional, a nutrition professional, whatever the case may be. But they will be able to guide you in the right direction. And it doesn't take very much for them to do it. That's what they do on a daily basis. So if you've got the high level goal, they can set the game plan or the playbook that you need to achieve. Which brings us to the next point, which is key. You want to have one goal at a time. I get it. You may have more goals than one that you want to achieve long term. Problem is, if we're not laser focused on achieving the goal that is the single most important goal that we're focusing on, it becomes a little bit complex and a little bit convoluted to know exactly what process and what game plan needs to be put into place. So that is a key thing that we are trying to avoid, having multiple goals at the same time. If you've got one goal, then you can stay laser focused on it, and you can see that your progress towards that goal is actually happening. Once you've got that goal, this goes back to the question that was just asked, you want to have micro goals as checkpoints. The micro goals as checkpoints, they help you, first of all, know that the progress that you're making is actually working towards your goal. If you spend hours at the gym, or if you spend time measuring your food and weighing and tracking calories, or if you spend time doing something that you're focused on that you believe should be bringing you towards your goal, and you don't have any micro goals along the way, then that's a difficult place to be mentally, because you're constantly in a state of, I don't know whether or not this is working, right? Without those micro goals as checkpoints, you're kind of walking in the dark, right? So those micro goals become good benchmarks off of which to evaluate yourself, so you can determine, okay, am I on track? Am I on pace to hit the goal within the specific timeline that I've created for that goal? Am I in advance? Should I come up with a more audacious goal, right? Because I'm tracking ahead of pace. The other element to setting the micro goals that's so important is it allows you to get early wins. And what I mean by early wins is, again, let's just go back to that strength example, because it was specific and it was measurable. If you're currently capable of squatting 95 pounds for 10 reps, and you want to get to 125, and you set a micro goal of getting to 105 pounds within the next month, right? That's specific, it's measurable, and we test it. Now, your long-term goal might have been 6 months out. It might have been 12 months out. It might have been even longer than that. Depends what you're doing. Think about Olympians. They set goals that are literally 4 years out, right? Setting those micro goals and actually hitting them gives you the sense of accomplishment that you need to stay invested, to stay checked in, to stay motivated. And also, getting those early wins builds momentum, right? It builds momentum in the sense of, I know that what I'm doing is going to result in my long-term goal. How do I know that? Well, my coach told me something that I should be able to achieve by this date, and I've not only achieved it, I've surpassed it. So as a result of that, I know that I am on the right track, and that makes me feel good. So that day where I don't feel like going to the gym, and it's rainy outside or it's snowing outside or something, and you don't feel like going out to the gym or getting that run or getting that workout in, you're like, yeah, but hold on, I'm still on pace and I don't want to fall off pace. So I'm going to do this despite not wanting to. And then you show up, and once you're there, you always feel good after accomplishing, right? The last, and something that people dramatically underestimate as being important, is a support system. What I mean by a support system is, this could be a gym buddy. It could be somebody that comes and works out with you. It could be somebody that is there as your coach. It could be somebody that you check in with. It could just be a friend that's aware of what your goal is, how important that goal is to you. And they, whether it be a friend or a coach or a workout buddy, they can help hold you accountable. Right? And that accountability, we always underestimate it. We always give ourselves the impression that, okay, I'm independent, I can do this all on my own. And chances are you probably could. However, it never hurts to have somebody to grab you by the shoulder and pat you on the back and say, hey, you're doing a good job. Keep it up, right? You're on pace to hit that broad goal that you had. Keep on pushing towards that. So that's the concept of goal setting the right way. Now, you'll notice that there are some major themes to that. Even if you set your goals in the right way, I mentioned some of the hurdles, which were not knowing whether or not those goals are reasonable, or whether they're attainable, or how challenging it's going to be, and what steps you should take to get there. So there are 3 major keys to success. The first one is you need to get the correct guidance. You need the guidance on how to achieve your goals in order to know that what you're doing is actually leading up to an end result, which is the accomplishment of your goals. Oh, we got another question here coming from the crowd. Rafi's going to jump in.
Yeah, David. So another question around support system. So, and this I think a lot of people struggle with is if your friends don't work out, or if you don't have a support system or a community that's always working out and there to help you, how do you grow that? How do you get into a support system, and how can you grow that? Is it through different applications? Is it through, being part of a gym, being part of a community? How would that work? What's the best recommendation?
Great question. So, and I get that. There's, I understand the difficulty of developing that support system. So there's a couple tiers to the support system. The first one is you've got that physical support system, the people that like working out with you. being in an environment where people are working out is one of the best ways to find that support system, right? So if you like doing fitness, or if you're getting physically active and you're looking to build that support system, there's no better place to do it than either at a gym where there are people that are getting physically active on a regular basis. And I get it. If you go into a gym, like a typical gym, like a Good Life or a Nautilus Plus or one of these big box gyms, and you just go do a workout there, yeah, I get it. There's not much of a support system and it's difficult to meet other people. But if you're doing group fitness classes, that's a great way to get associated with other people, right? They're jumping in, they're struggling and suffering through the same workout as you are. And I can promise you that at the end of it, once you accomplish that workout and you're sweating, you're going to give each other high fives. And you're going to feel good about it. That's a great way to build a support system. The other element is that support system doesn't have to be a workout, but it could be a coach that you really like, right? So group fitness coach, it could be a personal trainer that you like working with. And you don't have to be seeing the personal trainer every time you go to the gym in order to justify that support system. Just seeing the personal trainer doing regular check-ins once every 2 weeks, once a month, that's still a support system because it creates a sense of accountability. The other element is there's a lot of apps out there where you've got a support system through the app where you can check in with the people who are getting physically active on their own side. You've got apps where you can track your running. You've got apps where you can track your high intensity fitness classes. You've got apps where you can track all of this element. And I know it doesn't sound like the most inherent community and interactive way to build a support system, but there is proof and a number of papers that have been written on this. Just knowing that you've got a support system that's on the back end, even if it's only through your app, is enough for you to commit that much more and hold you that much more accountable. So find that support system. And even if it isn't somebody that's getting physically active with you, your friends knowing what your broader goal is and your friends being a support towards you in achieving that goal will have an impact. It will 100% have an impact. So that's what I mean by creating a support system. Okay, let's get back to those keys to success. So getting the correct guidance is super important. That'll make sure that you're on the right pace. That'll make sure that you're on the right path. And you want to be on the right path in order to be able to effectively establish those micro goals and get those quick and early wins, and make sure that you stay invested in this broader, longer term goal that you have. Second thing is regular tracking and testing. You may not know how to specifically test it. Once again, that's where the guidance comes in. But ultimately, if you are not tracking and if you are not testing and retesting, it becomes very difficult to figure out whether or not you're making progress. The test can be something like, in that example that we gave, it could be squatting. If you're a runner or a triathlete, it might be doing a time trial. And I'm not saying every time that you go out for a run or a ride, you should be hitting it with the intensity of a time trial. But every once in a while, you do need to push yourself to figure out, where am I as a benchmark, so we can have a point of reference for future evaluation. The third one is accountability checkpoints. So we just talked about it. Those accountability checkpoints can be with a trainer, it can be with a coach, it can be with your workout buddy, but you do want those checkpoints so that on days where you're not feeling it, you are still accountable to something or somebody, and that is going to help you achieve your overall goals. As a result of that, this is why fitness fads often fail, all right? The reason why fitness fads often fail is because they don't meet those 3 criteria that I just addressed. First of all, fads tend to be super extreme, and fitness fads are the same as nutrition fads, but the most common ones are nutrition fads, where they say, you don't touch a single carb. All right, fine. Is it necessarily the best methodology? It definitely is a methodology. Does it work? For some people, it'll work very well. For others, it won't work at all. But most importantly, it's that extremeness in the approach that make it very difficult, if not impossible, to stick to, because there's extraneous circumstances that come into play and that make it challenging. Right? So the reason why fads often tend not to be sticky is because They are very extreme. And despite a lot of people being able to and follow fads for a short period of time, they often fall off the wagon at some point because they're difficult to maintain. That the fact that they are extreme by nature makes it difficult to maintain. There's such a deviance from your regular habits, or a deviation from your regular habits, that it makes it challenging to commit to and stay committed to. The other element of fads is that they often overpromise and underdeliver. You know, they promise the world, you're going to lose weight, you're going to get strong, you're going to have abs for the rest of your life. And I mean, yeah, they help towards the goal, but often they don't actually hit what it is that they originally promised. The reason why that's a problem is because that creates frustration. That creates frustration and intimidation. First of all, you get frustrated with the time you've committed to not actually hit your goal. And second of all, you get frustrated with the fact that because you haven't actually hit that goal, now you're kind of checked out and you don't want to recommit. On the other side of the equation, this is one of the key reasons. So those three main approaches, those three keys to success, one of the main reasons why studios and personal training work is because they actually hit those three keys to success right on the head. All right. The first one is it helps keep you motivated. If you're working with a coach, if you're doing group classes, if you're doing an app, the coach, you've got a professional who has, first of all, created the workout for you and is helping motivate you and push you through the exercises that you need to be doing to achieve your fitness goal. The reason why that's so important is, first of all, it removes all elements of thinking associated with working out, right? You need to be mentally checked into your workout, but you don't need to be thinking of, oh, should I be doing this exercise next? Or should I be doing that exercise next? And why should I be doing it? And is it okay if my reps are lower because I just did that first exercise? You don't have anything to worry about there. You've got a coach that's there guiding you, leading you, and motivating you. And if it's not a live coach or a personal trainer, it can be an app that's guiding you through the exercises, because in theory, that app would have created a program which was customized for it. Performance is tested and measured on a regular basis. This is true whether or not you're going to group fitness classes, or whether or not you're going to a personal trainer, or whether you're using an app that is strategically built out. They will test and retest, and they will allow you to measure your performance. The reason why this is key is, once again, it helps you feel like you are making progress towards your goals. The third element is, and this is true in studios and personal training, there's a community element. There's an accountability element, right? And the community, it could be the group of people who you're working out with. It could be the coach themselves who you get accustomed to working with. And now that coach represents your community. But all of these elements result in increased accountability, which helps you build towards your goals, which gets you there even on days where you don't want to. And as a result of that, you start to see traction. Raph, I think there's a question from the crowd.
Actually, no, finish this one up because it's related to this. So finish this
Okay,
one.
we're good.
Cool. So couple of questions. There's a couple on nutrition, which we can address during the nutrition phase, which is the pyramid. But before that, very interesting question. And we get this a lot with a lot of our existing users and customers, which is the time of day to work out. And not necessarily just from a physiological perspective, but also, you know, first thing in the morning versus late at night. First thing in the morning, you basically become super rushed. You need to go to work.
Yep.
Versus you have more time at night, but you come in completely exhausted and no energy. So if someone's trying to embark on a fitness journey and basically hit those objectives, hit those goals, how do you make the time, and when is the best time to make it? So what is your typical advice for such a situation, which is very common? It's so common. So
love this question. So there's arguments for why you should work out in the morning. There's arguments for why you should work out in the afternoon. There's arguments for why you should work out at night. What I like to communicate to people is find a controllable time in your schedule. Some people have more control of their evenings because they need to get up early and take care of the kids, bring the kids to school, whatever the case may be. Some people have more control of their mornings because they know that between 6:30 and 8 a.m. they have no work commitments, they'll be able to be free. The single most important thing for me is establishing consistency. So if there is a tranche of your schedule that is more controllable, then that is where I would want to be consistently placing the workouts. That doesn't mean that you don't get to have any flexibility, but I would say that I would prioritize the tranche of your schedule that you can commit to or that you have more control of over the benefits of working out in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. The truth is, consistency will far outweigh the time of day at which you're working out. Now, the second element that I take into consideration is some people work out in the morning because it gives them energy throughout the day. If that's you, definitely work out in the morning. By all means, you want to be energetic throughout the day. That's perfect. Plus, it'll help you sleep at night. Some people say that if they work out at night, then they can't fall asleep. They've got that energy. Then that's probably a bad time for you to work out. So it's a question of, first of all, finding the time of day that you've got the most control over so you can be consistent with your workouts. And when I'm talking about consistency, ideally we get to work out 3 times a week, sometimes 4. But if that number is 2 times a week for you, then that's fine. You just want to find a place where you can be consistent. And then, second of all, test it out. Test, see how you feel after the workouts, see if it helps you sleep, see if it gives you energy, and then figure out the sweet spot to place it. So those would be the 2 elements. I wouldn't be looking at workout performance in terms of time of day. There's no statistical significance proving that there's a time at which you will be better or get better results. All right, we're gonna go into an element that's key for a broader wellness perspective. So we were talking about a lot about goal setting, and that goal setting doesn't only apply to fitness goals. It applies to other elements of general wellness. And this is what I call the wellness period. The wellness pyramid. There are 3 levels to this wellness pyramid. The 3 levels are all interrelated. They all have a dramatic impact on one another. So it's important to not look at wellness as a single element. It's important to not look at wellness as, well, I work out, so I don't have to care about nutrition at all. Or, I eat well and I work out, so it's totally fine that I get 3.5 hours of sleep a night. It doesn't work like that. We're a functioning mechanism that everything is interrelated. So if we are poorly addressing one element, it will have an impact on the other element. All right. And I'm going to explain exactly how those elements come into play with one another. But the 3 elements of your pyramid are sleep, nutrition, and exercise. And I like to start this discussion with the single most important of those 3 elements, which is sleep. I'm going to talk about why sleep matters. And you guys have probably heard this a million times, but the get 8 hours of sleep a night. You need to be able to rest to recover it. Well, I hate to tell you, but the fact of the matter is that is true, and it's been statistically proven. The 8 hours is sort of like a benchmark. It's flexible. Some people don't need as much as 8. Some people need more than 8. It's a moving target, and that's totally fine. But I can tell you one thing for certain. That number is definitely not less than 6. And it is definitely not consistently less than 6. You may feel awake, you may be functional, but if that number is less than 6, what ends up happening is your body feels stress. You may not personally feel stress, but your body is flipping out, right? This is preventing your muscles from recovering efficiently, okay? It prevents your muscles from recovering efficiently. It prevents your brain from functioning the way it should, or at optimal efficiency. And it gets in the way of your overall achievement of goals. Remember when I was talking about workout intensity earlier? Well, I wasn't only talking about physical intensity. Not being well rested will impact your physical intensity because your muscles will not be recovered as much, but it's also going to affect your mental intensity. You will not be able to mentally check into your workouts. You will not be able to challenge yourself and push yourself as much. And on top of it, a lack of sleep will result in a lack of motivation. Right? So if you do not sleep a certain number of hours consistently, you're going to be less motivated to go to the gym. You're going to be less motivated to push hard. You're going to be less motivated to actually achieve and build towards the long-term goals that you've set for yourself. And then there's the most important element of a lack of sleep. A lot of people want to have a lean, muscular figure. And by muscular, I mean, it's all relative, but you want to have, you want to have as little unnecessary weight as possible. Most people. A lack of sleep gets in the way of that more than anything. Lack of sleep results in a hormonal response that sets you up for bad weight gain. If ever you felt, you ever stayed up late in the evening and suddenly you feel peckish and you start to snack and you tend to grab things that are not the healthiest things, either, you know, like cookies or candy or something that satiates you. Well, the reason why you're eating at that point is more often than not because you're tired. And eating is a hormonal response to that fatigue. You use it as a method to stay awake and keep yourself alert, but it's unnecessary. Really what you are is tired. You're not hungry. The other element is you tend to, when you are fatigued and at a lack of sleep, you tend to grab the wrong foods and you tend to overeat. So when we're fatigued, we tend to want sugary foods and we tend to eat more than we need. And that combination is the perfect storm for putting on unnecessary, unwanted weight. So sleep will help with all of those elements. As I just discussed, because sleep is so interconnected with nutrition, the second part of the pyramid, so the second level of the pyramid, is nutrition. And I think that there's going to be some questions here.
Yeah, David, so while you're going through this, keep in mind a couple of questions here on nutrition, which is, so very blunt, and I think we all been through this, is it like an 80-20 rule where 20% is exercise and 80% is nutrition? Of course, you just introduced sleep into it, so it's not really 80-20, it's certain percentages. So what's your take on the percentages between all these three angles? And also a very hot topic, especially, I know we've had a lot of discussions around this internally, on your take on the keto diets and who should use it and not use it. So if you can just implement that while you're going through this, like answer those questions while you're going through this, that would be great, I think.
Okay, perfect. So let me address the split right away, just to get that one to touch on that point. So sleep and nutrition, exercise and nutrition split. 80-20, it might be 80-20 for you. I can't promise that it's 80-20 for you because I don't know what your specific goal is, right? A lot of people attribute way too much weight to exercise when their goal is to lose weight. And they don't focus on nutrition at all. If this is what I talked about earlier when I said it's important to have your objectives aligned with what it is that you are doing, right? So you want to execute against the objectives that you have. So that split is going to depend on what it is that you're looking to accomplish. If you are going to compete in a strongman competition, I can promise you that nutrition is not going to be your primary concern. It's going to be exercise. And yes, nutrition will play a role, but it's going to be a very different role than if your goal was to get prepped to, I don't know, climb Mount Everest, in which case you would want to be the leanest possible, whatever your goals are. So that shift will have an impact. The sleep element, sleep is more of a threshold. You kind of need to meet the minimum requirement, and then everything over that is great and fine and dandy. And if you feel more rested and you feel more checked in, then that's good. The proportion allocation to sleep is more, as long as you are getting a certain number of hours. The sweet spot that I like to say is somewhere between 7.5 and 8.5. Could be 7 to 9. Usually not less than 7, but if you meet that threshold, then the focus then becomes nutrition and exercise. I would say that for most people, if it's just general wellness that you're going for, the split that I'd like to lean on is 60 nutrition, 40 exercise. A little bit generic because I don't know the specific goals that we're addressing, but for general fitness, that's what it would be. Now, let's talk about why nutrition matters. First of all, eating well and eating real food and good food will help with your workouts. Helping fuel your workouts will mean that you can work out more intensely. It'll mean that you'll be more checked in during your workouts. It'll create that sense of motivation to push further during your workouts. And also, when you're done your workouts, if you're eating consistently and you're eating properly, it's going to dramatically help with recovery. And helping with recovery is key, because if you are working out consistently, you want to be able to push through each workout with a solid level of intensity. You want to be checked in for each one of those workouts. So it will help fuel your workouts, and it'll also help you recover from the exercises that you're doing. This is the split. We're back at the split question here, but the truth is exercise is great, and it's important to commit to exercise. And I'll talk about why exercise matters and the benefits that it can have. But the truth of the matter is you can simply not out-exercise a poor nutrition plan. If you are not eating healthy, your body's not getting the nutrients that it needs. If your body's not getting the nutrients that it needs, it's not helping you recover. It's not helping you achieve your fitness goals, whether they be strength or weight loss or developing lean muscle, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, your nutrition plan absolutely needs to be aligned with that. If it's not, all of the exercise in the world is simply not going to offset that. It will help, but it won't offset it. The other element, and this is the one that goes under the radar and that people don't really focus on as much, but nutrition has the single largest visual impact on the body. And I know that shouldn't be a reference, but for a lot of people, that is why they work out. They want to look good and they want to feel good. And nutrition is the key to that. If you are not following a nutrition plan which is aligned with how you want to look, whether that be putting on muscle or losing weight or losing fat or whatever the case may be, then you're not actually going to get that immediate satisfaction of, hey, I look good in this shirt. Hey, I fit in these jeans. Hey, I can see my muscles. That is important for the mental motivation. Again, when you know that you're achieving and you know that you're building towards your goal, that you have the visual proof of it, you're that much more invested in re-upping that commitment towards achieving that goal. If you never have a visual checkpoint, it's tough. And nutrition is the single element that will give you the most obvious visual element or that visual checkpoint. So that's the nutrition key. The next one is why exercise matters. Well, if I haven't beat this to death already, the key thing is exercising will help with muscular adaptation. Whatever your goals are, exercise are going to help you progress towards that goal in an accelerated fashion. They will help you get stronger. It'll help you get leaner. It'll help you get fit. It'll help prepare you for sports. It'll help prepare you for general life experiences, and that's why it's key. Your muscles will get accustomed to being challenged, and as a result of being challenged, they will help you they will get stronger and adapt to the challenge that you're putting them through. The second element is if you've got more lean muscle, your metabolism is simply going to be more effective. That means that you're going to burn calories faster and more efficiently. That means that you are going to lose body fat, unwanted body fat, more efficiently. This is going to help you in everything that you're trying to do. And as a result of that, that's why exercise is key. It helps you put on lean muscle mass. Third element is if you're exercising consistently, I can promise you that it's going to help with sleep and energy. If you're working out and you're pushing through an intense workout, you're taxing your body. Your body's going to be fatigued in the evening when you lay it down, and it's going to want to go into that recovery zone. When it goes into that recovery zone, you're going to sleep deeper. And the other element is if you're working out in the morning, it produces a ton of endorphins, right? And those endorphins can help give you energy and remain positive throughout the day. There's tons of benefits of your release of endorphins. And as a result of that, that's why exercise is key. As part of the wellness pyramid, there's a couple key things that I want to touch on. They're kind of like your cheat sheet. This is something that people often forget, but in that pyramid, sleep is sort of like the base layer, right? Sleep is the base layer, then you got nutrition, then you've got exercise. The base layer is the single most important. Sleep takes priority over exercise. What I mean by this is if you have not slept consistently or you're getting poor sleep or you're at a lack of sleep over an extended number of days, skip the gym, skip your workout. Find a way to focus on your sleep, find a way to focus on your rest, find a way to de-stress. If your way to de-stress is to work out, then Yes, go to the gym, fine. But sleep takes priority over exercise. Don't stress your body, don't tax your body excessively if you're coming off of a week of 4 hours of sleep a night. The get 7 hours of sleep, that's kind of like the lower end of the spectrum. I know that sometimes that's difficult, and I know that sometimes that's impossible. I'm not saying that you need to get it every single day, and I'm not saying that if you don't get it, then never work out again. I'm saying that if you are looking to achieve your long-term fitness goals, I can promise you that if you are at least getting 7 hours of sleep, you will see progress towards those goals a lot faster. The third one, nutrition matters. Nutrition matters regardless of what the goal is. Abs are made in the kitchen. Muscles are made in the kitchen. Weight is lost by being specific and focused on your nutrition. So do not neglect nutrition as part of the plan. The quick and easy rule for general fitness, and I know I'm generalizing here, but it's don't consume more calories than you burn. All right, you've got your natural metabolic rate. You can go to any app and calculate it. Do not consume more calories than you burn. This is going to help you develop lean muscle. Lean muscle is going to help you succeed in anything that you're doing, whether it be a physical activity, a sport, or just general life. You won't carry around extra unwanted and unnecessary weight. Workout should be aligned with your fitness goals. So work with a professional, get assessed, figure out what your fitness goals are, and get those checkpoints mapped out so that you can make sure that what you are doing is going to get you towards your long-term goal. Figuring out what steps need to be taken will help you with your progress roadmap. And once you've got that roadmap, then it's just an execution plan. And last, work out at high intensity. Work out at high intensity. The key there is working out at high intensity means check into your workouts mentally and also check in physically and push yourself and challenge yourself. That's going to result in muscular adaptation, and it's also going to help you succeed in your overall broad high-level fitness goals again. Raph, it looks like we got a question.
Yeah, we got actually, we're towards the ending, correct?
Yeah, we're done.
Let me just quickly talk about what they have as an offer, and then we're going to get into the final Q&A.
Yeah, sure.
There's a couple of really, really interesting questions. So
yeah, for sure.
Thanks for that, David. That was awesome. It was
my pleasure.
It's not the first time I hear this, and I still learn everything every time I hear this. So here's a special offer for everyone attending. First of all, if you missed the first part and everything, there's a couple of more sessions going on tomorrow. So you feel free to register to that, or tell any one of your coworkers or colleagues that if you enjoyed the session, we'd love to hear about it too. But if you enjoyed it, tell them to join as well. There's still time to join for tomorrow's webinars in French and in English. That said, through your Perks platform, what you're going to have access to now after this is if you follow those links and you basically have already registered through the My Benefits app. If you go through that link that's basically at step number 2, you'll be able to access the Lift Session app. The Lift Session app is basically pretty much what we went through from the perspective of objective setting, fitness programs creation specifically personalized for you, and access to a support system. So access to coaches who can basically answer any of the questions you have, whether it's related to fitness, nutrition, sleep, you name it. You basically can have access to top coaches around the world that are there to help you. So you have a support system in that. That application is absolutely free for anyone within your network. So please go in and register from there. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out, and we'd be more than happy to address. Now, let's get into some really important questions and really interesting ones. One, I think, is related to intermittent fasting.
Yes.
So there's one attendee who's basically saying they're following a keto diet, but with an 8 hours of non-carb eating, and between noon and 8 p.m. eating, and avoiding anything but water between 8 p.m. and noon of the next day. So what is your take on that? Like, and the problem is, this person is basically saying is they have cravings. Their urge to eat increases and they feel more drained. So is this something where at the initial part where you feel like that and it changes, or is this something that you don't recommend doing? So full floor is yours on that one.
Yeah, great. So first of all, intermittent fasting, I've always liked the concept. It obviously needs to work for you, and it's obviously a challenge to get into it. But what you're doing is you're restricting calorie intake. I mean, during the hours where you're only having water or tea or coffee or something that is non-calorific, you're restricting your calorie intake. So there's just simply less hours in the day where you can consume calories. So as a result of that, consuming less calories is, as a general rule, at a very high level, going to have an impact on your weight. So that's fine. It takes a while to get into it. This is true for intermittent fasting. It's also true for the keto diet. You're not magically going to fall into it and not have any cravings. The body is going through an adaptation period. So by restricting calorie intake, and in the keto diet specifically, by restricting any form of carb intake, your body is going to go through a process of a little bit of a flip out. After 30 days, you should start to fall into the natural pattern of things. Is the keto diet good or bad? That it depends on the person. It depends if it works for you. So there's no specific nutrition plan that is going to be optimal for everybody. The high level rule is restrict calorie intake or minimize calorie intake to make sure that it is below what you're burning. And then after that, find a nutrition plan that makes you feel good. It requires testing and retesting. So if you jumped onto a nutrition plan, the two key rules are follow it for a minimum of 30 days, and 2, track your progress. If the progress is not there, and if you follow it for less than 30 days, it doesn't have enough time to work. That's 1. 2, if you follow it for 30 days and you feel like total crap, don't stick to it. You want something that you can consistently stick to in order to see long-term results. So 30 days minimum. If you don't feel good, drop it. If you feel good and you don't see results yet, test it out for a second 30 days. If after 60 days you have not seen any results, then it might not be the right plan for you.
Cool, thanks. A couple of other questions. I know we only have 5 minutes left, but I really want to get through them. There's two basically left. So the other one is, how often do you change your workout routine? And maybe tie into, for example, the app that they have access to, how that helps them and sort of not even caring about that, and everything's done for them. So that's a really important question from the perspective of, achieving those micro goals, right? So
workout plans. I mean, if I was to give one answer that is like to paint a broad picture, the single most important answer is I would change my workout plan every day. All right. And the reason why I say that is because you don't want a routine in your workout plan. You want muscular adaptation, and you want what you're working out for to represent your everyday life. You don't know what's going to come at you. You don't know whether or not you're going to have to pick up a box off the ground or run or sprint. So by changing your workout routine, what you're doing is you're training mentally and physically to be prepared for the unexpected, right? If you're consistently doing the same thing, if you're consistently doing squats and bench press, and that's all you're doing for a period of time, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, then you become really good at those specific elements, but it doesn't help you actually improve in general. Now, that's a general answer. If you're training for a specific sport, or if you've got a specific objective in mind, there may be a specific routine that will optimize your time to achieving that. Professional will be able to guide you. But if I'm giving a general rule, I would suggest trying to change your workout program as frequently as possible. And what Raf mentioned, through the app, you get a customized program on a daily basis. You can go in, you get a customized program. The program changes every single day. It taxes different muscles. It tests different muscular systems and energy systems. And as a result of that, you get better overall.
Excellent. And then for the last question, extremely, and I think it all ties it together, but it's going to maybe throw you off a little here, is the element of stress. So we've heard so many times, like, stress is causing issues, so we need to exercise, sleep better, and eat better in order to reduce your stress. But typically, stress doesn't enable you to do those things. And then on the upshot, there's the other consideration of some people get so infatuated with their workouts and their specific goals that it starts stressing them, versus the opposite of basically taking away the stress. So how do you like, where do you start from? Like, it's kind of like a chicken and an egg thing, right? Which is, if you're stressed, you need to sleep better, work out, and eat better. But stress is causing you not to be able to do those things. And then the other side of it is, so if you start doing those things a lot and get infatuated with what you're doing, it starts causing stress if you miss a day or something like that happens. So how do you manage all that? What's your recommendation for that?
Okay, well, on the high end of that, on the other side, on the second side, you become infatuated with working out, and you start to be stressed because of missing a workout. Well, first of all, if you got to the point where you're working out that consistently, bravo, that's one. And two, if you're not going to the Olympics, don't stress out for missing a workout, or maybe you are going to the Olympics, but even then, don't stress out for missing a single workout or missing a couple workouts. It's not going to be the end of the world. take anything that seriously. Know that you're committing to your body, and on the days where you are unable to work out, take that as a rest day. Your body can benefit from a little bit of additional rest and recovery so that the next time you do go work out, you can attack it with more intensity. You'll be more checked in. Don't allow yourself to get stressed out by missing a day or having a meal that is outside of your meal plan. It's not the end of the world, right? You want to make sure that it's not consistent and you're not consistently missing workouts, but you don't have to stress out about missing one workout. On the other side of things, if you're already stressed, one of the key things to do is get physically active. You don't need to get physically active at high intensity to put additional stress on the body, but by starting to move, by starting to get physically active, that could be a long walk. That could be, you could even start with a short walk. As long as you're checked in, as long as you're focusing on your breathing, as long as you're getting physically active, what you're going to realize is your stress level from getting physically active is going to reduce. You're going to produce more endorphins, and you're going to be able to mentally check in and recognize, hey, I worked out yesterday. I worked out. Might not have been my ideal, but I got physically active. And just knowing that is going to help start lowering that stress level, because now you're fitting it into your lifestyle, you're focusing on physical activity, and those endorphins are starting to kick in. It may take a little bit of time, but as that happens, you're going to be able to start adding an element of intensity to your workouts later. So what I would say is find a way to get physically active. If you are stressed, let the physical activity slowly start to diminish the stress. Don't look for a miracle solution. It might take a little bit of time, but by committing to it and staying consistent with it, you will see a reduction in stress. And as a result of that, sleep will be easier, your nutrition will be better, and you'll be able to start implementing higher intensity work afterwards.
Perfect. So thanks, David. We put the link for the app as well in the chat. I'm going to hand it over to Lily now. Lily, if you want to give some parting words, and thank you again for attending.
Sure, thank you. We are a couple of minutes over time, so I'll keep this brief. I just want to thank you, David and Rafi, for this very comprehensive overview of strategies for meeting fitness goals. I want to thank the participants today for attending the webinar. I hope you found it informative and motivating, and I hope that you'll take action and set a SMART goal to start working towards, as David spoke to. A quick reminder, if you have not registered yet for your digital wellness program, please do so. We have a contest running right now for a draw for a few Fitbits for anyone that registers before April 30th. You can access the program via the My Benefits app or through your plan member portal. So thanks very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks again, David and Rafi.
Thank you very much.